here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll be tackling GS Paper 1 on polity and culture, GS2 for governance, GS3 balancing the economy and environment, and finishing up with GS5 holistic Assam integration.
All right, diving right into GS Paper 1, Polity and Culture.
When we talk about polity in Assam, the role of local self-government is absolutely a high-yield topic, right? To set up today's case study, we first need to quickly recap the Nikshay Mitra initiative. Basically, it's a targeted government program aimed at giving crucial nutritional support to TB patients. The idea is to improve their health and immunity during treatment, which ultimately contributes to the larger goal of a TB-free India.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting for your mains answers. The Tula Autonomous Council, or TAC, is actually utilizing its very own resources to distribute these nutritional food baskets in the Moregaon district. They aren't just sitting around waiting for top-down funding. They are proactively driving this campaign at the micro level. This is a textbook, concrete case study you can cite when writing about how autonomous councils can effectively use local funds for grassroots healthcare. Definitely keep this one in your back pocket.
Moving right along to GS Paper 2, Governance and Schemes.
Okay, so in today's paper, we've got two major governance updates that make for a perfect contrast. On one side, we have an immediate state-level rollout with the PM Rahat scheme in Gopara district. On the flip side, we're looking at a massive regional vision, the one grid approach for the entire Northeast, which was just proposed at the NAC plenary.
Let's zoom in on PM Rahat first. You really want to commit this data to memory. In Golpar district, authorities are rolling this out to provide immediate medical attention during that critical golden hour right after a road accident. It guarantees cashless treatment up to 1.5 lakh rupees for a maximum of 7 days. And the best part? This is provided regardless of the victim's financial status. Private hospitals literally cannot turn them away. That is a brilliant value addition for any essay you write on emergency healthcare response and reducing out-of-pocket expenses for vulnerable people.
Now zooming out to the whole region, we have the one grid approach. The Mizoram Chief Minister proposed this to the Union Home Minister at the NEC plenary in Shillong. Instead of treating roads, railways, waterways, and telecom like totally separate silos, this approach integrates them into one unified development framework. It specifically builds on the nearly completed Kaladan multimodal project. If you're writing an essay on the Act East policy or the economic transformation of the Northeast, dropping in the one grid approach shows you really grasp the visionary, big picture strategy.
All right. Let's shift gears to GS Paper 3, Economy and Environment.
This paper is always a delicate balancing act between massive economic projects and ecological vulnerabilities. Let's look at the development side first. 411 crore rupees. That is a massive budget allocated for a transformative project called Sneha Jodi. It's totally focused on revamping Assam's traditional, world-renowned Muga silk production.
You know, APSC examiners love specific, actionable data, right? Well, Mission Senhajori isn't just a vague promise. It specifically targets over 2.5 lakh weavers and rearers by organizing the grassroots. It's forming 1180 farmer interest groups and 30 farmer producer organizations, or FPOs. The whole point is to strengthen the value chain and make Assam's golden thread super competitive globally. So when a question pops up about rural economic empowerment or indigenous industries, literally just quote these exact figures. It makes your answer stand out for sure.
But, and there's always a but in GS Paper 3. We cannot look at the economy in a vacuum. As a really sharp editorial pointed out today, marking World Environment Day, this rapid economic push has to be weighed neutrally against some pretty glaring gaps in our environmental impact assessments, or EIAs.
The editorial broke it down perfectly using these specific hydroelectric projects. Take the Lower Subansiri project. There are severe questions around seismic safety and downstream flooding. Then you have the Kulsi project, which threatens biodiversity and risks displacing communities in sensitive zones. And the Lower Kapili project is a classic example of a massive flaw in traditional EIAs. It completely ignores cumulative impacts, like the highly acidic water that's already flowing from upstream coal mining. These aren't just complaints. They are hard, objective data points you absolutely must use to balance any answer on infrastructure development.
And finally, we arrive at GS Paper 5, Holistic Assam Integration. This is the paper where you have to synthesize all the disparate facts we've covered today and show the examiner you see the big picture. To start our synthesis, let's add one last piece of data to the mix, 500 crore rupees. This represents the proposed Sarojay Ajini urban infrastructure upgrade under the central government's Urban Challenge Fund.
We're talking about the trunk infrastructure, the primary roads and underground utilities that will act as the backbone for future growth in southern Guwahati.
So how exactly do we build an exceptional essay out of this? It's a three-step process. First, establish the economic promise using the 500 crore Sarsajai upgrade and the 411 crore Sinajori Muga Silk mission. Second, bring in the ecological balance by pointing out how current EIA models are totally failing to account for cumulative climate resilience in Assam. And third, introduce tech integration as the bridge between the two.
And where do we get that tech integration angle? Directly from the Union Home Minister's statement at the NEC plenary. He basically said that states need to build infrastructure for AI, machine learning and blockchain for the younger generation. For Assam to truly capitalize on its demographic dividend, we have to go way beyond basic computer classes. Just imagine writing an essay arguing that we should empower our youth to code local AI solutions for flood prediction downstream of Subansiri or use tech to preserve indigenous languages. That is next-level synthesis.
I'm going to leave you with a practice prompt to test this out. How can Assam successfully balance its demographic dividend and ambitious economic infrastructure goals against its undeniable ecological fragility? Take the data from today, the Muga Silk Mission, the Urban Challenge Fund, those critical EIA gaps, and the push for AI, and write it out. Keep it neutral, balance the perspectives, and keep prepping holistically. That's a wrap for today's Explainer. Keep studying smart, and I'll catch you in the next one.